Yeah. Episode 83. You know what it is. That Victory Talk, man. Victory Talk podcast. We a little victory late, but it's all good. We're gonna victory start right now. Let's go. Yo, what up? What's going on, everybody? You know what it is. This is another episode of that Victory Talk podcast. The only podcast on earth that's 100% focused on helping you build your money, muscle, mindset. That's Victory Talk. And y'all are the Victinators. People... The Victinators, the viewers of the Victory Talk pod, viewers and or listeners, depending on how you digesting this shit. I heard this shit is on podcast platforms. I ain't checked it. My employees could be lying to me. Y'all gonna have to go in there and see. And if you do see it, they're go ahead and leave a review, man. Tell them how to change your life, how to help you ball, shot call, flex on those hoes, flex on the haters, stun on the hoes more effectively. Because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Yo, all right. I got a lot of stuff I want to get into today, man. This one's going to be really focused on getting money, as usual. But first, we got to get into the sponsors. The first sponsor, the first Victory sponsor we have is, hold on, let me see if it can come up. Is the new newsletter, Big Money Methods. This is the newsletter all about how to get money, right? It's going to give you tips and tricks how to get about like biohacking to get money, health, wealth, mindset. You know what I'm saying? Bam. Best creatine supplements men should take. The benefits of creatine supplements men should take. Don't worry about it, man. You got to read it, not me. That's the homie Chris wrote that. I wrote this one. How to use monk mode to 2x, and get more work done. You know, if y'all been Victory watching this podcast, you know my stance on monk mode. That's like a article where I go into more detail about the video I made. You know what I'm saying? We spell habits wrong here. That's how you know I wrote it. That's how you know like I really wrote it. You know what I'm saying? Mental rebirth, because habits is spelled wrong. That's how you know I wrote it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, so it's all about how to build your money, muscle, mindset. It's the companion. It's like the Victory Talk in written form. Listen, we got an army of editors, man. Sometimes they slip through the cracks. Some of them slip through the cracks. Also, of course, you know that we're sponsored by Thot Repellent. This is the easy to apply spray that keeps the hose away, right? It's getting worse out here. It's getting worse out here, man. You know what I'm saying? My man Tarek Hill from the Miami Dolphins, he just filed for divorce 75 days after he got married. Man, you know what I'm saying? Now that bitch gonna get all half his money for fucking with this nigga for 75 days, man. That's why you gotta keep the Thot Repellent on hand. Because that motherfucker got, now in her defense, Tyreek did get 3 other women pregnant. Like there's 3 other women pregnant right now. So this brother really does need it, right? He can't stop getting hoes pregnant. Now he's getting divorced 75 days after he get married. He's going to get this bitch half his money, man. I don't think fucking 3 hoes was worth that many millions of dollars. Personally, you know what I'm saying? Had he had Thot Repellent, he wouldn't have to worry about it, right? So we're working on getting this out to the market. You guys, if this doesn't come out, it's going to be your fault because all your super chats go towards research and development for Thot Repellent. So if it doesn't come out, You got to blame yourselves, man. You got to blame yourselves. Listen, it's time to get into this episode, man. We just going to jump right into it, man. You know, here's the thing. If you want to get rich, you want to make money or have any sort of success in life, it's not going to come from you doing one thing. It's going to come from your habits, the things you do habitually. For example, if this was a fitness example, motherfuckers come up to me like, hey man, how do I get ripped? I say, you got to get your diet right. He'll be like, oh man, I ate a salad yesterday. Yo, shut the fuck up, bitch. You did almost nothing. Like, what do you do habitually? Eating a salad once won't help you do shit, dummy. You need to build your habits. And that's why we have a whole segment dedicated to habits that help you win. And it's conveniently called Habits of a Winner. Listen, I got to set up the iPad because I'm about to get it popping in this bitch. Hold up, man. Listen, you motherfuckers better get your notes out. This ain't the type of shit you just watch. You take notes. You study this. You watch it again. Quiz yourself, man. You make flashcards about the shit I'm saying. And quiz yourselves every day on it. That's what I would do if I was you, but I ain't got to do it because I'm me. All right, listen. Yeah, it's going to be one of those episodes. The writing's on the wall. All right. In this video, I'm going to explain to you and break down the real reasons why most people will never get rich. All right. A lot of people think, oh, it's the a lot of people say it's because of the economy, or it's because this group of people is preventing me from accomplishing things, or it's the matrix, or it's all the shit. No. The main reason you motherfuckers ain't going to get rich is because of you. And I'm going to break down. It's because of you and your mindset. And in this video, I will break down how you can change your mindset to guarantee you'll get rich. Money back guarantee. Well, it's free, so it's kind of like the same thing. All right. Get your pens and pads out, motherfucker. Oh, you may be thinking, hey, why should I listen to this guy in a fucking tank top? Sure, he's in phenomenal shape and handsome. He looks like the Oscar statue or a young Mr. Clean. But that's not why you should listen to me. You should listen to me because over the last few years, I built several multi-8-figure businesses. I've been on the internet documenting my whole journey over the last 10 years. You've seen me go from very humble, modest beginnings to really, really stunting on the haters, flexing on the hoes in tremendous fashion with no end in sight. And I want to show you how you can do the same. And it starts with your motherfucking mindset and your mental. All right. We got to get rid of these things that are holding you back. And that's what we're going to get to in this video. All right. So most people want to get rich, right? Almost everybody wants to get rich, but they don't want it bad enough. See, the problem with wanting something is you're not going to get what you want. You'll only get what you have to have, right? Think about any goal that you set your entire life that you did not accomplish. Think about any goal you set that you did not accomplish. Did you want it? Or was it a must, something you had to have? Well, if you did not accomplish it, it stands to reason that you did not really, really have to have it. It was more of a want, a desire, nice to have. Because if you had to have it, you would have got it, right? And that's the first part of this equation, right? So there's a difference between what you want and make this longer pause, and what you must have. right? Now, just because you must have it doesn't necessarily just because you must have it doesn't necessarily mean you'll get it, because the next thing you need to be willing to do what's required. Willing, right? A lot of you guys know what you need to do to accomplish your goals. That shit you've been trying to accomplish for mad long that you fail at every year, you know. You know in your heart what you would have to do to accomplish that, but you're not willing to do it. You're unwilling to do what's required. Of course, there's exceptions, right? So this in this little each of these quadrants are different levels of desire and willingness. What? Is that right? Hold on. That look crazy. Right? Desire and willingness. So how it's not enough to want it. It's how bad do you want it? And are you willing to do what's required to get it? So here's what I mean by willingness. There was a time in my life I wanted to be a doctor. I thought that was a good ambition for a young man. So, and I started researching, hey, what's required for someone to practice medicine in the United States? And I started looking into it, and I saw that doctors had to go to school for 8 to 10 years, then do a residency for 2 to 4 years. Then they finally start making some money. And I thought, oh, no. I am not willing to do that. And I was way at the bottom of this axis, right? So here's what this looks like. The things that you want, right, but they're not must-haves, typically they're things that are pretty easy. Oh, these are things that are pretty relatively easy and probably not that impressive. Unimpressive. Not impressive. Right? Easy and not impressive, right? But the things that you must have, the things that you like, you have strong desire, they're typically impressive and difficult. Right? They're typically impressive and difficult. Now, let's say there's something that you want, like you feel like it's a must have for you. For example, a health and fitness goal, right? Yeah, you got to be fit to live, right? The number one cause of death in the United States of America are obesity related diseases, according to the World Health Organization. About 1,500 Americans die every day from obesity related diseases. Is the number one cause of death in America, more than terrorism, AIDS, more than more than terrorism, AIDS, and C-19 combined, right? So most people know they have to get in shape, but they're unwilling to do what's required. And when you have a goal that falls into this quadrant, this is when you become a hater. This is the hater zone. So you see people who are fit, or you see people who are successful, and what do? You say, oh, this guy, he's a cheater, or this guy's on steroids, or this guy's just lucky, or it's all genetics, right? For example, when I first started on YouTube, people used to always say, man, it's just genetics, man. Black guys, they just get muscle faster. Now, bad guys are just genetically, uh, black guys just have great genetics and they can build muscle with ease. And whether or not there's truth to that argument, I know in my lineage, almost everyone's fat and out of shape. Motherfuckers got all types of health problems because they can't stay in shape. I am the only one who looked like this. If it was just easy for everyone in my bloodline, there'd be a whole fucking army of us instead of just me. Right. And or they said, oh, this guy must be on steroids. But what they didn't realize was, no, I was natural up until 3 years ago when I got on TRT at age 38. Right. I was natural the whole time. What they didn't realize is what I was willing to do. I was here. I was willing to track my macros every day. Every day I keep a scale with me everywhere I go, and I weigh all my food and or scan the label. And I've been doing this for over a decade, even at restaurants. I'm in fucking nice restaurants, Poppy Steak, Komodo, fucking weighing shit, you know? I don't give a fuck, right? But I don't think most people can even fathom that level of dedication. So they have to say he's cheating or it's not fair or he's lucky, right? Same thing with business, you know, like people will say, oh, this guy's a cheater or he's business or even on my videos, they say, oh, this guy must be wealthy from daddy's money. They're just assuming shit. I don't know. My dad blew his brains out when I was a fucking young man. He left with nothing but a bunch of fucking problems, right? But they have to do that to feel good about themselves because they want something, but they have desire for something, but they're unwilling to do what's required to accomplish that goal. So they become haters. Might be you, right? And you see this from women too. Now, if you spend any time with women, when they see a real hot chick, first thing they say, oh man, her titties are fake or she's a hoe. They start talking shit. This is the hater zone, right? Let's say there's something you want, but you're unwilling to do what's required to accomplish that goal, right? So again, the things that you just want, like they're not must-haves, they're just wants, nice to have, and you're unwilling to do what's required. This is the pussy zone, man. You just a pussy, bro. Soft as fuck. You're not even willing to do the easy shit. I had a nephew, man. And I was trying to fucking get this kid to get his shit together. And I brought him to Miami, put him in the Airbnb, and it was like, all right, this is going to be man camp for a month. We're going to get your shit together. He's an adult, right? This motherfucker's almost 30. And I was like, yo, you got to start waking up early so we can do this shit that we had to do. And he couldn't fucking go to sleep early enough to wake up at 8. I wasn't even trying to get him to fucking wake up at fucking 4 like me. I was like, yo, just be up at 8. And this motherfucker couldn't go to sleep before 2. He ended up in the pussy zone. Right? Now, easy shit that's not impressive that you are willing to do. This is where most people land. And that's why it's called the average zone. Right? That's the average zone. This is where most of you motherfuckers end up. Some of you are straight up failures, right? You can't even do the regular shit. But most of you guys who aren't like total shitheads, you can do the average shit. Now, let's say there's something you must have. You got the desire strong enough where it's a must for you and you're willing to do what's required. Oh man, ain't no stopping you, man. This is the baller zone. This is the baller zone. This is where you need to reside in order to accomplish your goals, right? You have to have strong burning desire and you have to be willing to do what's required. You have to both of these have to work in tandem, willingness and desire. Without it, you fall in one of the other quadrants. All right. This is where we want to be. So how do we get there? How do we increase willingness and increase desire? Well, first we got to tackle willingness. All right. How do you increase your will? All right. Sorry. How do we increase your will? Oh. Right. Okay. Before I get into this, I have to tell you how I learned a lot of this, how I came across this knowledge, and how I was able to implement this in my life. My father blew his brains out when I was in my early 20s, and that put me in a position where I had to start taking care of the family. I take care of myself. I had no safety net, right? And I had to start going super hard in order to accomplish my goals. I was kind of thrust in this position where the desire where the desire to improve my financial circumstances increased dramatically, but also the willingness to do it, because now it's just me. Everybody's dependent on me, and I felt compelled, right? It was like the call to adventure and the hero's journey. And I answered the call. How do you replicate this without having to have your father blow his brains out? Well, here's what you can do. This is what I've seen work, both for myself when I had to set even bigger goals, and what I've seen work for the people who I've coached over the last decade. Right. So it's a two-prong approach. Right. Looks like this. So the first thing we have to do is increase belief. Right. We have to increase belief. Oh, sorry. And the reason increasing belief is important is because if you do not believe, oh shit, I fucked up. No, you good, you good, you good, you good, you good, you good. I'm sorry. This is not. I messed up. So editors, you're gonna you're gonna hate me. Hold on. Let me start. Let me start this over, guys. I made a mistake. First, we have to. All right. First, we have to increase. Oh shit! I'm fucking up, guys. Bear with me. That's why motherfuckers are scared to do this live, because they afraid of messing up. I'm not afraid of messing up in front of you. I do it all the time. Hold on. Now my graph is fucked up. Oh, man, this shit's getting out of hand. Shit's getting off the rails. I was really proud of these circles at one point. I mean, these triangles. Fuck. I'm messing it up even more. See if I can fix this. Those are good looking triangles, man. Jesus. All right. All right. First, we have to. We have to increase desire. I meant this, not willingness. We have to increase desire. All right. Right. Now, the thing is about desire is to want something and really want it, like to make it a must, to want enough where it's like you have to have it. You have to believe it's possible. Right. If you don't believe it's possible, then it won't be a must. It'll be something you like. It'd be you want, like a fairy tale, like a lot of people want to fucking fly. Right. But you don't believe you can. So it's not a must. You're not going to go out of your way to accomplish this futile goal. Right. But if we can increase belief, right, then we can move it over into something that you must have, make it a requirement for success. All right. So first thing we have to do is increase belief, right? But now we also have to increase pain. Like, and when I say increase pain, I mean the pain of not having it. Right? Because first you have to believe it's possible, and then you have to feel the pain of what it would be like if you don't accomplish a goal. Like I said, I was thrust in this position against my will when my father shot himself in the head, because I knew if I did not start making some more money and improving my circumstances, that my family would suffer, right? So that's how the pain was increased so much, right? But then I still had to increase belief. And here's how you do that. So the first part of increasing belief, right, is proximity, right? What you need to do, right? You have to get proximity to it. You got to be around people who are doing it, preferably if they are like you in any capacity, if they're from where you're from, if they have similar backgrounds. Because if you see someone like yourself doing it, someone who reminds you of yourself, then it'll become a lot more believable. You know, when I was growing up in Chicago on the South Side, there wasn't a lot of examples of successful Black men in the 80s, except we had Bill Cosby, like his character. We had the Cosby Show, and I saw Bill Cosby was a doctor. I said, "Oh, that's why maybe I should be a doctor," right? I just went for what I saw, right? But then I saw fucking Jay-Z and P. Diddy build these businesses, and these guys were way more similar to me because they were from the hood, you know what I'm saying? And they had a checkered past. Diddy got a checkered present. We're not gonna get into that. They inspired me to want to go after more, right? And if you see someone doing what you want to accomplish, then it just becomes believable. It's like, oh man, maybe I can do it, especially if they're like you or if they're from some sort of area like that, right? And if you can't find them like you, then you just got to get around it somehow. Somehow you just got to get around it. So one of the things I did after my father killed himself, I was living in New York. I moved to this area in Queens called Forest Hills. And Forest Hills is a super wealthy neighborhood in Queens. I think Donald Trump grew up there or spent some time. And I didn't live in a nice place there. I had the only apartment I could find in that area. And it was right on the Long Island Railroad, meaning when the fucking train went by, I could see people in the train and they could see my house, right? And if I was watching TV, which was super rare, I'd have to, I think we had a DVR at the time, I would have to pause the TV because the train was too loud to hear what was going on. And this is every few minutes. So TV was not an enjoyable activity for me. However, I was in this area with all these rich people, and something about when you start to get around it and you start to see it, even though these people weren't like me, I started to want it more. I started to believe that it was possible a little bit more, right? So across those train tracks were huge mansions, like multi-million-dollar mansions, and I would ride my bike through there. I can only assume that those people thought that I was trying to rob the place or staking out my next victims, but I was just trying to soak up that inspiration, right? And I found it super helpful. So that's one thing you can do. You can move. Another example is you can make friends with people who are doing what you want to do, who are wealthier than you are, who have accomplished things you want to accomplish. So if you know my story, I got sent away to military school because I got in a bunch of trouble in high school. And I had a roommate there. His name was Corey Phillips. And I went in one weekend. Corey invited me to his house. He lived in Wisconsin, right? So the military school was in Milwaukee, right? So instead of going to Chicago that weekend back home to the ghetto, I went to his house, to the suburbs. In his house, this motherfucker lived in a mansion, right? This motherfucker had horses and all types of fancy luxury cars. And it was the first time I saw that shit in real life as a kid. And when I saw it, I thought, oh shit, this shit is real. It's not just the TV, huh? This shit, people really live like this. And I spent time in his house, and I saw how they were living, and they had maids and shit. It's shit I had only seen on TV. I couldn't imagine. And I was like, man, Corey, what's your dad do for a living? She said, oh, he's a doctor. I'm like, is that right? And that's how I got this doctor shit in my head at the time, right? but it made me believe that it was possible, right? To become more, right? The next thing you need is exposure. So going to Corey's house was some exposure. Sorry. But also moving to that neighborhood in Forest Hills gave me some exposure, right? But I actively seek out more, and I do it all the time. So I want to be exposed. I want to constantly expose myself to abundance. I want to constantly expose myself to imagery or examples of people accomplishing the goals that I want to accomplish, or symbols of the goals I want to accomplish. For example, I made friends who have more money than me. These guys got yachts. These guys got, multiple Rolls Royces and shit. And when I see that, it increases my belief that it's possible, because I'm like, oh, these guys ain't like way smarter than me. They're not way better than me. They're like, oh shit, I think I can do this. And it's always been like that. So even when I first started my journey, I had a mentor. His name was Owen from RSD. I think he used to be known as RSD Tyler. And, we became friends. And one day I went to his crib. I went to his crib in LA, and I saw that they had a huge business. They were making 8 figures at the time, and he had this huge mansion in the Hollywood Hills. And I was just like, damn, these guys are really doing it. And just being around it increased my desire, but it also increased my belief, because I'm like, oh man, these guys, they're just regular people. They're not like superheroes, right? They're just regular people who work really hard. I can do this. And, then I became friends with Ty Lopez and other people, and I just got so much more exposure that I believed it was possible. But I think one of the main things that helped me was when I became friends with Elliot Holst, because Elliot Holst was a guy who was even more similar to me, right? And he had became a millionaire in the fitness industry. And when I saw him do it, I was like, oh shit, it can be done. It can be done. So I started going for it more, right? So it's exposure and proximity. Even though I wasn't living by Elliot, right? But I got that exposure to him, and it just really increased my levels of belief, right? But now, just because you believe it, don't mean you'll achieve it. I mean, you got to believe it to achieve it, but you also have to believe in the pain of not getting it. And that's why I recommend something called, so what I'm about to recommend flies in convention of almost everything you'll hear in the personal development space. Okay. Almost unanimously, every personal development motherfucker is going to tell you to be positive, only focus on the good, only be positive. And I'm not saying they're wrong. I just want to offer some contrast and another method you may find helpful. I know you'll find helpful if you're brave enough to utilize it. All right. Because these motherfuckers, man, especially these LA motherfuckers, they just want you to be so grateful and like so only thinking about abundance and positive, right? But yo, man, I don't know, that shit don't resonate with me, man. I'm a real street nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so all that shit, I ain't really trying to hear that shit, man. Sometimes the aggression does it for me. And that's why we want to implement something I call negative visualization. Right? Everyone tells you about positive visualization, but I want to explain to you the power of negative visualization. Just bear with me momentarily, guys. Negative visualization. So I want you to think about what happens if you don't accomplish this goal. Seriously. Like, what's your life going to be like? Like really plan this out 5-10 years from now, right? Whatever your goals is, whatever goal you want to accomplish, whether it's fitness or a financial goal, what if you don't do it? What are things going to look like down the line? And really make it make it bad as possible. I want you to think about, what if there's a war? What if there's an economic collapse? What if there's another pandemic? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to do? Will you have the infrastructure ready to take care of yourself and your family, right? What if there's another recession? There's one every 10 years. Why wouldn't there be another one in the next 10 years, right? Are you prepared for that, right? Are you financially sound? Are you physically sound? Are you physically strong enough to handle that? Or if you don't get money, like what kind of girl are you going to get, right? Oh, the ones that the ballers didn't want. What kind of how do I put this? What kind of environment do you want to raise your kids in? Right? Do you want to show them abundance? Do you want to show them what they can accomplish if they really put their mind to it, if they really go for it? Or do you want to show them some average shit? Right? Because they're going to be like you, right? The apple don't fall far from the tree, right? Do you want it to be a fucking strong, mighty tree? Or you want a bitch nigga tree? Like the one you fell from. I think about that shit all the time. I think about my son in the future, and I think, man, I'm going to tell him that he can accomplish anything, right? Like everyone's parents does, right? But if I haven't accomplished anything noteworthy, anything tremendous, then he's going to look at me and be like, if he believes me when I say he can accomplish anything, and I have not accomplished anything tremendous, he's going to look at me like, damn, nigga, is this all you wanted? Damn, you ain't even try. or he's going to look at the shit I've done and he'll be like, man, I can't do everything, man. That's bullshit. Right? And then he's going to have these self-limiting beliefs, because why should he believe he can do more if no one in his bloodline has done it? Why should he believe he's capable of greatness if no one in his bloodline have done it? Right. And that's kind of where you guys are right now. You probably don't believe in yourself because people around you haven't done it. Your parents haven't done it. They weren't able to give you that gift, man. When you going to break the cycle? This kind of shit I think about all the time. You know what I'm saying? What if people in your family die, right? Will you be able to hold them down? For example, when my cousin died, he had 2 kids, 2 young kids. So I'm stepping in trying to be more of a father figure for him. I'm paying for the school, getting them stuff, showing up on holidays, Christmas, right? And I got to set the example for them as like a father figure. Are you prepared to do that? If you find yourself in that situation? Probably not. Or my father killed himself and I was kind of thrust into this position. If I had enough money, I don't know what the fucking amount is, but if I had enough money, I'd still have a dad. I could have saved him. I don't know what that amount is, but I know there is an amount and I didn't have it. Right. So I vowed to myself that I would never again be in a position where I couldn't help out the people I love and care about if they needed it. And thankfully, there's been a lot of emergencies, but I was able to hold everyone down in the situation because I think about it. I plan for it. I call it offensive pessimism, right? I use negative visualization here because offensive pessimism has not caught on the way I had liked. I did an interview with Ryan Holiday, I don't know, years ago. And I gave him that phrase. I said, hey man, you can start using that. I think he's waiting for like his best book to put it in there. We'll see. But yeah, that's what I think. The offensive pessimism. I want to be negatively visualize what will happen if I don't accomplish the goal. Right. That's not really offensive pessimism. Matter of fact, editors, Forget about that. I visualize what will happen if I don't accomplish the goal. Right. And that gives me more what? Desire. Right? I really want it to happen now. Right. Then I've talked about this before, but I know you motherfuckers ain't doing it because you ain't balling yet. You know? List of hate. This is one of the most powerful things on earth. This is out of all the things I've tried to teach you guys. I don't think anything is more powerful than the list of hate. So what you want to do is write down a list of all the people who've hated on you, said you couldn't do it, talk shit about you, laughed at you, every bitch who rejected you, left you, cheated on you with some rich, handsome black man. Again, I apologize. You know, what was I supposed to do? Right. I know it's your girl. You know who you are. I'm not going to call you out. I didn't have no one in mind when I said that. But out of all the thousands of people going to watch this video, I definitely fucked one of them girls. If that's you, I want to apologize. Put me on a list of hate. All right. And you need to understand, I gave you that gift. You need to understand that if you don't accomplish the goal, then the haters win. If you don't accomplish the goal, they wasn't hating on you. They was right. It was just an accurate assessment of your capabilities. The onus is on you to prove them right or wrong. Right. And, you know, Frank Sinatra said, Sammy Davis is the only nigger I'm gonna let in here. But he also said, that was his main phrase, but he also said that the best revenge is massive success. Or massive success is the best revenge. One of those. And Sammy was right. Sammy was 100% right. Because the only way to hurt these motherfuckers is to win, is to succeed. Right? We can't fuck them up anymore. Right. So we got, and that's not even effective. Right. That just meant you were a better fighter. But if you beat them, if you succeed, if you succeed way more than them, way more than they can even imagine, then you're not a better fighter. You're a better person. You're a more capable man. Right. And they will rue the day they ever crossed you. That bitch. She's going, one of two things is going to happen. She's going to look at your Instagram in the future and be like, damn, I really missed out. I fucked up. And she'll feel the pain. You finally got her back. Or she's going to be like, whoo, good thing I left that motherfucker. I really dodged a bullet. That abortion was the best $500 I ever spent. Imagine having this motherfucker's kid. Ugh. Which do you want? Think about it. And so you make this list and you look at this list every day. If you got an iPhone, open up the notes app, make a note, list of hate, pin that shit to the top of your notes. If you got an Android, use the fucking Dweeb app or whatever's on there, right? I'm sure it has similar functionality, and look at that shit every day. That's how I start my morning. List of hate, rage. It's good, man. It's good. Listen, I know these California hippie motherfuckers, they want you to be all fucking joyful and grateful all the time, man. But yo, this shit, man, the world wasn't built off that shit. The world was built off violence, right? This country was built off violence. You don't believe me? When last time you seen a Native American? When last time you see? I'm not a proponent of violence. I'm just saying that negative energy has some power. It created the best nation in the world, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry about the Indians and the slaves and shit, you know, but listen, that's here nor there. I'm just saying it was built off aggression. You got to build your empire off aggression. All empires were built off aggression. American Empire, Roman Empire, British Empire, the fucking the nigga, man, you know what I'm saying? Asian motherfucker, man. He was fucking niggas up back in the day. Oh, Genghis Khan, he built his Genghis Khan, he built his fucking empire off aggression, right? You know what I'm saying? When you going to build your empire off aggression? Now, I'm not saying really fuck nobody up, fuck them up mentally by succeeding more than them. Crush them. And the beauty of this list of hate is it makes you invincible. Every time somebody hates on me, anytime one of these fucking dorks makes a fucking YouTube video talking shit about me, I'm like, oh, thank you. I needed some more fresh ammunition. I needed some more fuel in my tank to up my desire. Now I want it even more. Right. So now it's like when bad things happen to you or people shit on you, they're actually helping you. You're taking the negativity and transmuting it into something positive. You know what I'm saying? Listen, hate's not good or bad. It's like a tool, just like a knife. I can use a knife to go stabbing people in a mall, or I can use a knife, to cut up Thanksgiving dinner for a family of orphans. You know what I'm saying? And feed them, right? It's just a tool, how you use it. Now we're using the fucking hate energy as fuel, right? To accomplish our goals. Nothing bad about that. And okay, so that's how you increase desire. All right. You got to increase belief and you have to increase the pain. Right. And this is based in actual science. This is based in science. If you read anything about, if you ever read Sigmund Freud's work, he talked about the pleasure pain principle, right? How people are always moving towards perceived pleasure or away from perceived pain. This is a way to this is a way to manufacture that deliberately. This is a way to manufacture that deliberately by when you increase the belief that you can do it, right? That's going to increase the perceived pleasure you'll get, right? And increasing the pain will increase the perceived pain, and you'll move more towards those goals, right? Once we've increased desire, we also have to increase willingness, because remember, you have to want it and you have to be willing to do what's required to accomplish it, right? So increase will. Oh, I didn't want that color. Increase willingness. So, a lot of times when people ask me how to accomplish something, I'll tell them if I'm in a regular mood, but if I'm in a bad mood, I just won't tell them nothing because I know most of these motherfuckers aren't willing to do what's required. I know it. See, the difference between me and most people is not that I'm way smarter or I have a bunch of gifts that other people don't possess. The truth is, I'm just willing to push myself more than they are, right? The average person is trying to see what they can get away with all the time. I'm trying to see how much I can do, how much I can take, right? And that's the main difference between me and all the people who I fucking ran circles around my whole life, right? And I'm gonna teach you how you can cultivate that amount of willingness as well, right? So let me see if I can draw this the way I have it in my head. Oh, this is gonna be. Just bear with me. I think I can do this. I believe in myself. Cheer myself on a little bit here. Okay, that looks good. What the fuck? Okay. No, this is oh no, that's not good. I got it, guys. Oh, all right, it's pretty good. It's all gonna make sense in a minute. Oh. All right. All right, so check this out. Willingness goes in the middle of this. If I can make it big enough, pause. Willingness. All right. So there's different parts of this. The first part is you have to know. First, you got to know what to do, right? Know what to do. All right. Then you also have to know how to do it. Oh, let me switch the colors. So you have to know what to do to accomplish your goal, but then you have to know how to do it and how to do it well. Right. So, for example, if you wanted to be a YouTuber, right? So one of the things you might have to do is post YouTube videos, but like they have to be good, right? They have to be good. So you have to know how to do it well. And then the next part of this is going to be sacrifice. Because doing it is one thing, but it's like what trips people up is the things they have to give up, right? That's a big part of willingness. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to do it, right? Now, learning what to do and how to do it, right? First, you have to study. You have to study what people have done to accomplish the goal, right? Because any goal you have, there's somebody who has accomplished it. And they probably have a book or a course on it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you got to study this. You got to find out what to do. Anyone can do this. Right. But you also, once you know what to do, you got to learn how to do it well. This is what trips people up. You have to embrace failure. Because a lot of times people will try something and they'll try it like, I don't know, once, twice, maybe 3 times. And if they're not amazing at it initially, then they'll just say, oh, I'm not good at that. I tried that. I'm not good at it. No. You have to get good at it. Like almost no one's good at anything off the rip, right? Initially, you have to train to get good at something, almost anything, right? But to do that, you have to be willing to suck at it at first. For example, nobody's born knowing how to play an instrument. I don't care if you're fucking Beethoven. I don't care if you're Beethoven or Beyonce or fucking Bruno Mars, right? Nobody's born knowing how to play the instrument. You have to learn how to do it. And everybody sucks at it. We get this with instruments, but we don't get this with skills that pertain to getting money. People say, oh, I tried to sell, but I'm not good at it. Or I tried to make a YouTube video, but I didn't know what to say. You got to understand that you got to understand that we all suck initially. We all suck initially, right? And you have to embrace that. And then the more you get, the more I just saw something interesting. Like the more, but to get good at something, you have to do it multiple times. You have to develop. To get good at something, you have to develop the skill, and you got to be willing to fail initially, right? I remember the first time I tried to have sex with a woman instead of my mattress. She said no, right? And I didn't go and say, oh, the girl said no the first time I tried to have sex with her. Guess I'm just gonna be fucking my mattress indefinitely. Nah, man, you keep trying until you make it happen, right? And then you also, I'm gonna break this down a little bit more, but then you also have to learn how to sacrifice. But to do that, you're gonna have to plan your time. right? You're going to have to plan your time. And we're going to get into all this in more detail going forward. So study and embrace failures, right? You got to know what to do and you got to know how to do it well. To do that, you got to study and you got to embrace failures. But to expedite this process, right? The best thing to do is to get what? Mentors. Right? If you get mentors, what happens is they expedite this process because they can tell you what needs to be done because they probably already did it. And when you fail, they can correct you better. So let's go back to the music analogy. You know, when I first started playing the guitar, I thought, you know what? I'll just learn from fucking YouTube videos and shit, right? And I had already knew how to play keyboard and I already knew to play drums. So I said, hey, man, I'm a musician. I know how to do this. I can just watch some YouTube videos. And that kind of worked, right? I learned a little bit. I sucked, but I wasn't, you know, after about 6 months of it, I could almost play one song. Then I went and got a music teacher, right? Someone who I went to his studio twice a week and I practiced with him. That sped up my process. That sped up my development exponentially because when you're failing by yourself, you have to figure out what you're doing wrong. And it may not be obvious to you. But the teacher was able to observe me and he was able to correct me in real time. Right. So I learned so much faster. In fact, in the first 3 months of working with the teacher, I progressed way faster than I did in the 6 months I was trying to do it on my own. And I felt like a fucking moron because I actually wasted a significant amount of time fucking around with this shit by myself. Right. So, and he told me and I was telling him the kind of music I wanted to play. And he showed me how to do it instead of me just trying to figure it out. Right. So mentors help speed up this process exponentially. All right. And then when I started my business, Elliot Host was one of my first mentors. I was doing it on my own. And then I became friends with Elliot. And the first day I met him, he gave me a tip. He probably forgot he said it. Right. And he gave me a piece of advice that I was able to use. And I made $10,000 the very next week just from one conversation with Elliot. I don't know how long it would have took me to figure that shit out on myself. And you got to understand that the mentor-mentee relationship is the only form of learning that never fails. Because lots of people read books on making money and don't make money, right? Lots of people buy courses and other things and try to learn on their own and don't succeed. But the mentor-mentee relationship is almost bulletproof. Imagine if somebody wanted to become a Navy SEAL and they just said, all right, man, here's some YouTube videos and some podcasts, man, go watch these, listen to this, and then we'll see you at the war next week, right? That'd be ridiculous, right? Instead, they go and train with real Navy SEALs who serve as what? Mentors. These people who have already done what they want to accomplish, and they train them, and that's why they're one of the most elite fighting units the world has ever seen, right? This relationship has the highest probability of success, right? But then when it comes to learning what to do, how to do something well, right? Another thing that will speed up your success is you got to sacrifice and you got to embrace failure, but you're going to be doing that when you practice. See, people just think they're supposed to be good at shit. Oh man, I tried drop shipping and it didn't work. Yeah, man, nobody's fucking just good at some shit just cause, man. You might have to try a few times, man. I tried Facebook ads and it didn't work. Of course not, dummy. Almost nothing works the first time you tried. You mean to tell me you thought that the first time you tried to use one of the most sophisticated ad platforms of all time, you weren't able to make it work and you just want to quit? because you tried it once and didn't work. That's not how it fucking works, dumbass. Right? You're gonna have to practice, and the failure comes with practice. So you're gonna have to sacrifice, right? And that's gonna take time. It might take money. It might take embarrassment. Right? You might put up your first YouTube video and this fucking sucks. Let me show you one of my first YouTube videos. I'm gonna bring this up. YouTube. Brandon Carter. This shit was fucking garbage, my nigga. Hold on. All right, so check this. This is one of my first videos. I'm just gonna play it. I don't even know what's going on. I don't know what we're about to see. The video. That is kind of dope. That's me playing the guitar, highlight working.
Stuff is similar to that.
Look at me.
Those things cost like $200, $200.
I'm just chilling with this fucking. Yo, I ain't even know this dude that well. He used to just be in the park. We just. I don't remember his name. He was a cool dude, man. But you know, I'm just building a fucking YouTube. What am I doing? I'm building some shit. I'm talking. This is boring. This is not a good video. It's just me and this random white guy talking about something. It's not a good video, man. But it takes a minute for you to get good at shit. Then this kid came. I remember this kid. I used to see this motherfucker all the time.
I can do push-ups with these, you know.
The white guy's holding the camera now.
You can triceps, rolls now.
And make no understand. I'm holding this camera. This $50. I keep this close to me, so I remember what camera. This $50 camera I got off eBay. It's called the Flip Cam. I don't even think you can buy this shit no more. You know what I'm saying? This is not a good video. This is not good content.
You would dip with it without busting your ass.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a good content. This is 11 years ago. Damn, how many views this shit got? 60,000. Hey, you know. But it's like, yo, it takes time to get good. Skill acquisition takes time. And let me show you another thing. How much time does it take for you to get good at something? Let's bring it up. I should have had this going before, but whatever. I'm still not that good. YouTube. All right. So again, this is called the skill acquisition matrix. Hold on, let me bring this up. So basically, this tells you how much time it takes you to get good at something, right? So I break it down in hours. This is based off a lot of books I've read, Outliers, The Talent Code, and a bunch of books on skill acquisition. And they all agree that 10,000 hours makes you one of the best in the world. I think, if you just want to get good at something, just good. Like good, oh, this motherfucker's good. It's going to take about 1,000 hours, right? So until you've put 1,000 hours in anything, you shouldn't be fucking good. Right? And this is what it looks like. An hour a day is going to take you 2 fucking years, right? 2 hours a day is going to take you a little over 1 year. 3 hours a day is something. Okay, it'll take you a year. If you want to get good real fast, it's going to take you this much, right? And, I'm not going to go through this whole shit. Take a fucking screenshot or some shit. But, I think this is super solid, right? Like when I was at my boy Moneyberg's house and he was fucking kicking it with some MMA champions and shit. And I asked him, "Oh man, how you think you could have over 20 hours of training?" And all the guys who were champions said yes. That's how I came up with this. They were like world champions and shit. That's how I came up with this, right? So, but listen, it takes 1,000 hours for you to just be good. If you don't have 1,000 hours in something, you can't say, "Oh, I'm just not good at this." You're not supposed to be good at this shit yet, man. You're not supposed to be good at this shit yet, right? Nima's editing my videos. His first video was probably trash. The very first one he edited before he met me, of course, right? Can't work with me being trash. But was it garbage or was it good?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's trash. Anyway, but it's supposed to be. Mine is trash, right? All right. So, but to put in that kind of, first you got to embrace failure. You got to practice. That's going to take time. So you got to plan your time. I have a whole video on scheduling and how to use your calendar. You got to plan your time. You got to sacrifice a lot of things to get good at these things, right? Right. And then when you're studying, right, to learn what to do, that's going to take sacrifice too. That's also going to take time, right? Because you should always be studying. You should always be learning. So that's going to take time as well, right? And that's why planning your time is so important. And you're going to have to give up so much stuff to do that. Now, I'm going to show you a way to get way more done each day than you ever thought possible, so you can start running circles around all your competition, all the fucking haters, and everyone and everyone you're in competition with, everyone you're competing against. It's another video I have all about how to manage your time more effectively and squeeze more life and more success out of each day. Go watch that video right now, because it's crucial to the process. All right. Cool, man. I think we have some super chats. So my man MLD up in this bitch.
Let me pull it up. Yeah, Modern Life Dating, $10. Shout out to the big man. And here's to the development of the Thot Repellent. Rest in peace to the guys that fell out.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. Shout out to MLD, a homie, friend of the show.
We got Alexander Emmanuel Sandalis.
Yo, y'all should check out MLD's. Like, I don't talk about how to get bitches and shit, but he do. So go holler at him for that shit, man. That's the homie, man. I love that dude. Pause.
It says, what's your system for actioning info from your daily reading? I end up having many things to action, taking time from other tasks. How do you make space for action, taking new ideas you're consuming?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, everything doesn't have to be acted on now, right? So one thing I do is, let me see if I can bring this up. Hold on, don't show it yet. So one thing I do, let me see if I can find one that I don't mind showing. I'm looking for something I don't mind showing you guys. Oh, give me a second, because this is going to be helpful for you. Give me a second. Promise you it's going to be worth it. If I can find what I'm looking for. Where the fuck is it? All right. So when I read a book, if it's really good. So first of all, when I'm reading the book, I'll show you something. One thing I do, even if it's a digital book, is I outline the parts I thought were important, underline them, even earmark the page, or you can do that with the Kindle app as well. And if it's a really good book, for example, what I'll do is I'll rewrite my highlights. So this is, me, I read The Rational Male for the first time by, what's his name? In 2019. And I wrote my cliff notes of this shit by Roll Up. And I wrote my cliff notes to this shit, and I got every chapter, this is chapter 1. And then, then I go through this shit and I see what parts I want to, implement in my life, after I see, the most important parts, like, DHV, that shit spoke to me, I'm saying, demonstrations of high value, right? Shit like that. And then, but I do that with like a lot, with all the great books or courses I go through. And I have a ton of them. You don't have to show them. Don't show them all the books I read, right? And I keep a record. I do that in OneNote because it syncs across all devices. I used to do it in like another notebook, but I would lose those notebooks till I went 100% digital. And the parts that are really worth, not everything I need to implement now, right? Sometimes I'll implement it later, but I'll schedule that. I'll schedule like that planning for the implementation in Trello or my Google Calendar. Right. So I have a lot of shit that I'm going to start implementing this year, but not this month, maybe not even this quarter, but it's planned out in Trello. I have a video on how I like plan out my goals. That's the 2024 goal ones, right? Yeah. Check that video out. So, when I the stuff that I want to really implement. Sometimes you just want to learn shit. Sometimes you want to implement shit. Shit I want to implement, it'll make itself evident once it's filtered through my process of first note taking and then transcribing the notes, to a digital platform. And then I'll just plan out when I'm gonna do it. It's probably not immediate though.
All right, we got Chris.
Mhm.
You're awesome.
Oh man, listen, there's a lot of truth in that statement, Christopher. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people would have echoed those statements throughout the years. They would agree with you.
Marlo says, how long did it take you to get good at sales?
It's going to sound, what I'm about to say is going to sound like a contradiction to what I said earlier, but I do not remember a time I was not good at it. But that's not because there wasn't a time that I wasn't good at it. It's kind of like I've been doing it so long, kind of like how long did it take you to get good at walking? You don't know. You don't even remember that shit. It was so long ago. That's how it kind of was with me in sales. I've been doing sales since I was 15, 16. So that's like, 25, 26 years ago. And even before that, I was learning from my dad. So when my dad was trying to come up, he was doing the sales for all his business. And my mom had a job and she had to work on the weekends. So on the weekends, I'd be at the office with him. I'm in there with motherfucking G.I. Joes, Transformers, GoBots. Y'all don't know GoBots. They was like bootleg Transformers. They ain't last. But they was like the rock. Anyway, I was in there with Transformers and GoBots playing on the floor, right? Because there was no video games at the time, like legit no video games back then. But I would hear my dad on sales calls. I was just immersed in it since I was a child. So I learned sales the way you learn English. You get what I'm saying? Like I learned sales the way you learn English. And I don't remember being bad at it. I do know there were some times where I took big leaps. And those came from the total emergence strategy. I have a video on that. There was periods in my life where I had to sell all day, every day. One of them was one of the first jobs I had in New York. This was before my father died, right? So, but I was one of these guys who would go up to strangers in Times Square, women, and I would try to sell them these packages to these spas and salons for $60. So I had to walk up on strangers, tourists in Times Square, and try to get them to give me $60 for a piece of paper and hope that they believed it would get them a spa day, right? And that was, you talk about cold selling. I did that for, I don't know, like 6 months. And that was a moment where I can tell there was like a huge leap in my sales ability. But there was some few other times like that. I don't remember being bad. I'm saying I learned sales the way you learn English from my dad. But there's a difference between good and like really good, right? There's a huge difference. Right? Oh. Speaking of sales, we got I want to talk about how you can sell stuff, right? And if you guys have a product or service you want to sell, I want to talk about today in this segment we call Real Talk. Hold up. Just hold up. I got to drink this shit. Need more macros, man. They can wait. They're going to watch me drink protein. This is good content. Quest don't pay me to drink this on camera. I will take the money, white boys, if you serious. Gotta get my macros in, man. Fuck what you heard. All right. This is good content. It's good content. All right. What is this video about? Okay, yeah. In this video, I want to give you the 5 mistakes to avoid if you're trying to sell any product or service. See, over the last few years, I've built several multi-8 figure businesses. And I learned a lot about sales and I made a lot of mistakes. And that's why I'm putting this video together so you can avoid those same mistakes, and you can avoid those same mistakes, because experience is the best teacher, but it doesn't have to be your experience. All right. So you can learn from my mistakes. I failed for your sins, kind of like Jesus. The difference between me and Jesus is I'll fuck you up at a moment's notice. All right. So the first mistake that people make when they're trying to sell a product or service is not choosing the appropriate marketing method for that product. Let me explain. There are really 4 types of products or services, right? There are products that are expensive. Right? Oh, that's good enough. Expensive or inexpensive. Right? Then there are also products that people like need. They have to have it to survive. Right? And then there's also products or services that people don't need. They don't need it, but they still buy them. All right. Need looks funny. All right. And almost every product or service will fit into one of these categories. So think about something that let's think about a product that's inexpensive that people don't need. I would classify these as trinkets, like motherfucking fidget spinners. I remember all the influencers were selling those massage guns. Or other fucking silly shit, you know what I'm saying? Fucking shake weight, shit like that. These are like trinkets, right? Then there's products that people actually need and are inexpensive. These are commodities. This is your fucking toothbrush, deodorant, condoms. Then there's products that people need that are expensive, and these are necessities. You gotta have them, right? You go to the doctor. He say your back is fucked up. Now you need a backiotomy, right? You got to get the backiotomy, and it's probably gonna cost a lot of money, right? If you are talking to a qualified backiotomist, all right. Then there's products that are expensive that people don't need. These are luxuries. Luxury items. So this would be something like my Richard Mille watch, or one of my Cartier bracelets, or one of my diamond chains. Shit like that, luxuries. My man Tom bought 4 Rolls Royces in one day. Those are luxuries. He didn't need them, and they're expensive. Right now, you got to think when you're trying to sell a product, you got to think about what category it falls in. And people buy things in each of these categories for different reasons. So when someone is buying a trinket, remember, this is something inexpensive that people don't need. This is impulse, right? You see the influencer shooting that massage gun, on his trapezoid, and you think, hey man, Bradley Martin has that, I'm gonna get one. Right? You know what I'm saying? Or you see your girl sees some fucking Instagram hoe with the shake weight or the goddamn waist trainer. Oh man, I'll look like her if I get this, and she just buys it right away. You know, just impulse, right? No big deal. Right? Commodities. People most of the time buy this off price, right? I don't know what kind of toothpaste I even used this morning. I didn't have no decision on what I bought. I just bought the toothpaste, man. You know what I'm saying? People usually go off price with this. Right? Now, necessities. Remember, this is something someone needs and it's expensive. Hey, again, we talked about this. It's just you need. Doctors say you need a backiotomy. You're going to go to the bacchiotomist and get it. You know what I'm saying? So this is based off your needs. All right. You need a place to live. You're going to get that. You're going to have shelter. Right. Now, luxuries, this is where it gets interesting. When things are expensive, but people don't need them. Why would somebody buy that? Well, the only reason to buy something like this is status. Anything else they say is just to justify the purpose. They're just trying to justify it because they don't want to say out loud, hey, I bought this for status. Like, that's it. That's fucking it. That is the only reason. This watch is not that much better than, you know, a Seiko watch, right? It's not that much better than a Tudor or even a Rolex, right? But when I wear it, it raises my status amongst people who give a fuck about shit like this. It might lower my status amongst some people. Some people may see that shit and be like, oh man, he's wasted all that money, right? So it depends on who you're marketing to, right? Because some people will see this and they think, oh, it's a waste of money, and it might lower my status to them. But fuck them. I ain't trying to fuck them, right? The bitches I'm trying to fuck wouldn't say that, right? Because they are Latina strippers. In the past, long time ago, before I got my girlfriend. All right. And so, you know, so if you have a fucking trinket, it's inexpensive, people don't need, you got to appeal to people's impulse. And you do that by attacking dopamine. You got to attach dopamine to the product or service. And right, you got to get them. You got to find them at the right time, at the right place. This is why they have a bunch of bullshit in the counter at the grocery store, like at the checkout, because they're hoping that you or your fucking toddler will see that shit and be like, oh, can I have this? Can I have that? And they just impulsive, and you just buy that shit to shut the fucking kid up, or you buy it because, oh, I might as well get one of these motherfucking Snicklers or whatever y'all eat, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to appeal to people's dopamine, right? So you got to have, if you're doing some sort of ad, you know, you got to make sure it's hitting people at the right time, the right place. It's not impossible, but you can do it, right? Now, here's the thing. The weird shit about a commodity, if you are remember, you're competing on price. So this is where I hate to be as a product or service, right? This is actually the most difficult area to compete in. Why? Because it's a race to the bottom, right? You're trying to see who can get the lowest price. The problem with a race to the bottom is you might win. And that's why the only companies who can compete here are people who are companies that have like near unlimited resources, right? Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, right? They can just make shit as cheap as possible because they're doing it at such scale. They don't need huge margins to be profitable. They don't need huge margins to be successful. They can make a little bit of money off each transaction, but because there's so many transactions, it works out. It's difficult for a small business to compete in that quadrant. It's super difficult for a small business to compete in that quadrant, right? Now, if somebody needs something, right, a necessity, and it's expensive, excuse me, now you're competing you have to focus on quality. You have to focus on quality, right? Because remember, these people need it and it's expensive. Like, you don't want the cheapest laser eye surgeon, right? You don't want, I promise you don't want the cheapest heart surgeon. Right? Listen, you can get this heart surgery, or you can go to Tijuana, get that shit for 25%, get that shit for 75% off. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get what you pay for, and intrinsically people know that, right? So here it's all about quality in this quadrant, right? Now, the beauty of it. Now when you're in the luxury quadrant, right? Remember, it's all about status. No matter what people say, I don't give a fuck what they say. They're lying, right? Or they're lying to themselves. They might believe what they say. That doesn't mean it's true, right? They're in the luxury quadrant, right? You got to have you got to have some exclusivity. Exclusivity. And yeah, exclusivity, right? That's one of the main things that it drives, luxury purchases, right? For example, when my boy Tom bought he bought one of his Rolls Royces, I forget which one. He said, "Yo, this is the first one in North America." That's the first thing he said to me about it. Right? It's the first one in North America, right? Because that exclusivity is it makes things more desirable, right? I remember when I bought one of my APs, it was a special edition, and I was on the fence until he said, "Man, they only made 1,000 of these." I was like, that means the likelihood of me seeing another motherfucker with this shit is super low. So I purchased it, and exclusivity and status, they can go hand in hand. And when things are rare, it's supply and demand. When supply goes down, demand goes up, right? And if you have something super rare that most people can't get, either because it's not available, it's difficult to get, or it's expensive, that's going to raise your status, right? So Rolex does this shit, man. When motherfuckers try to buy Rolexes, it's like an arduous task, right? They may not be on the wait. If they try to buy it from an authorized dealer, they'll be on the wait list for sometimes years. I know a motherfucker who was trying to get a Daytona Rolex, and he was on the wait list for 7 years. All right. But once he got that, he felt good about it. But 7 years. This is why they trade for such high markups on the secondhand market, because they know it's exclusive, and that exclusivity raises one's status, makes it easier for him to impress people and get pussy. Okay. Right. So the key is to understand where your product or service is, right? Understand where your product or service is and approach it with the right strategy. You can approach it with the right strategy, and you got to define where your product is and make sure that you're methodical with your marketing and your sales strategies when it comes to that. I spent longer on that than I wanted to. All right. However, another mistake that people make is they try to sell a product to a market instead of finding a market. Okay, no. What you want to do is you want to another mistake people make is they develop a product to sell instead of finding a market to serve. Let me show you what I mean. So here's an amateur ass entrepreneur. He says, "Hey man, I'm starting this business and I'm going to sell this fucking thing, right? I'm going to sell this thing." And you're all excited about it. You spend all this time on your thing and you're like, "Hey, buy my thing." You're going up to people, say, "Buy my thing." But a lot of times what happens is the entrepreneur didn't even check to see if people were looking for this shit. Right? So people see this shit and they're just like, what? Right? And they're like, what? I don't want that shit. What? What's that? That's just not exciting. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really feeling that. Hold up. And now he's trying to convince these people to buy his shit. A smarter move is to find what people want right? Find what people want, what they're already looking for, and then just give them that shit. Give them the shit. Oh, he's a smile. He's smiling because he got that shit. Oh, I can do a better G than that. Start that over. Right. So if you find out what people want and then give it to them, man, look what people are checking for and then give them that shit. Right. So this shit don't be working. But I see entrepreneurs do it all the time. This is what works. Let me give you an example. When I was first starting my YouTube page, right, I didn't just start making workout videos and hope people fucking found them and liked them. What I did was, let me bring it up. So we go to, so let's go to oldest YouTube. Yo, what I did was I went on, I really went on Google Analytics, right? Google keyword tool, Google search, and I found out what people were searching for, right? Cardio, burn fat fast, right? How to build muscle and burn fat. That was one of the highest search terms, how to build muscle and burn fat. So guess what? Almost all my fucking videos were how to build muscle, burn fat, or how to get a 6-pack fast. And I went what people were searching for. That's why I put 6. I spelled it and I wrote the number, right? I went and saw what people were searching for. You can find this data on YouTube. And I made videos around what people were searching for. TRX was real popular back at the time. So I was making shit about TRX. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like if you look at all my titles, they're super keyword focus, search term focus, because that worked really well back in the day, right? So I could have just said, hey, chair dips. Instead, I said, hey, chair dips, exercise to build size, strength, chest, shoulders, and like that's just me keyword spamming the title. But this shit worked. This shit worked initially. I'm not saying this the same strategy will work now on YouTube, but the premise is the same. The premise is the same. I found what people were looking for and gave them that instead of just trying to give them whatever I made. So I see this shit all the time in business or marketing or even social media. People say, man, I'm trying to grow my social media, man. How do I get more followers? And I'm just like, yo, why should people follow you? Can you tell me that? Because are you giving them what they want? Motherfucker? No. Well, that's why they're not following you. Listen, when you see one of these fucking badass Instagram bitches with fucking million followers and shit, I've had sex with some of these people. And some of them, not all of them, are dumb as rocks. Right? They don't know how the algorithm work. Bitch can't spell algorithm. Right? They don't have no fucking tactics, no strategy. What's the best time to post? They just posting badass pictures of themselves. Guess what? That's what the market wants. Big titties bitches. Images and videos of big titty bitches. And guess what? Their social media fucking grows. Right? And some of these chicks, they start an OnlyFans or something, right? And it's like they don't have to fucking think too hard, right? They already know that guys want to see bare titties and then busting it open from the comfort of their own phone. So it works. They're giving the market what they want. Hey, we need that shit, man. I got that shit. Instead of, but what I see so many entrepreneurs doing, they're trying to force a round peg in a square hole. Pause. Right? You got to find out what they want and then give it to them. Right? So you got to start doing market research. You got to see what's going, what people are buying in the market, what people are searching for, and try to solve a problem. Try to solve a problem that the target market has, because business is all problem solving, right? I needed a mic that would make my voice sound amazing on the podcast and sure solve that problem for me, right? I needed a bunch of devices and computers to broadcast this shit. Apple solved that problem for me, right? You find a market and solve problems that they have instead of trying to create the market. That's a big problem. That's a big mistake I see entrepreneurs make. All right. Oh yeah. The third mistake that entrepreneurs make is they don't understand the relationship between marketing and sales. So check this out. Some businesses, right? The marketing is super good, so the sales doesn't have to be very good, right? If the marketing is really strong, the sales does not have to be strong. For example, Apple computers, you go into the iStore, these motherfuckers have not been trained by the Wolf of Wall Street, right? These motherfuckers are basically just order takers, right? They might know about the product and they'll answer your questions and help you decide what's best for you, but you probably came in sold, right? You weren't just looking around. You probably came in wanting to buy some shit, right? And you walked out with an iPhone, right? But the marketing did that job, you know? Then some companies are the opposite, where the marketing is trash, but the sales, it works because the sales are really strong. These are companies that have like door-to-door salesmen or companies that are cold calling. Here, any company that has their salespeople cold calling leads, they do not have strong marketing. It just, it's okay. If the sales is good enough, it'll still work, right? But the best version of this, now, okay, ideally, you'd want both to be strong, right? But you almost never see this. Why? Because you don't need to, right? If one of them is really good, the other one doesn't have to be really good, right? Here's the thing. This is the most difficult one, trying to make the marketing so strong that your salespeople are just order takers, right? This is the easiest and the cheapest. Like if your sales is really good, it can cover a lot of sins. All right. But in the perfect world, you want to get good at both. All right. You want to be good at both. So you got to understand marketing and sales, but you can't, just because you get good at sales doesn't mean you should neglect marketing, right? Because the marketing will make the sales. You want to get you want your salespeople as close to order takers as possible, right? Because if you can do that, then you're like Apple and you don't need to have good salespeople, right? This is the best, but it's the hardest, right? This one is the best, but it's the hardest. This one, it's easier. It's not easy. It's easier and it's quicker, right? This is really what you're shooting for, right? This is really what you're shooting for. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can get this down, you can really make it happen, and the key is the marketing for the companies that do this right. They know what quadrant they're in and they know how to market to those people. So, I don't think he is right now, but the CEO of LVMH, they owned Fendi, Louis Vuitton, Tiffany, and a bunch of other huge brands. They are in this category, right? Expensive shit that people don't need, right? their marketing is really well, right? They market the status, they make the shit seem, very desirable to people with that demographic, to their target market. But when you go in there, right, the salespeople, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They're not in there fucking around. Some of them suck. Some of them are just order takers. But the best ones, for example, and it's all luxury stores. Like my chick at Gucci, my salesperson at Gucci, she sends me Father's Day cards. She free gifts on the holidays and shit. Because they know what's up, man. They know that they want to keep me in. That's a sales tactic. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. She wants me to buy from her instead of any other Gucci. My salesperson at Louis Vuitton, when they invite me to all the events, they give me special treatment, shit like that. They invite me to the big fashion show. I was sitting across from Dave Portnoy and shit. It's they go super hard with the marketing and the sales is what I'm trying to say. And they're one of the most profitable companies of all time. Apple takes this approach, right? But either one of them can work. You just got to understand the relationship. If you lack in one of these, you got to be stronger in the other one, right? But you should never neglect the other one, because this is the easy. If you get this business is indestructible. All right. The fourth mistake entrepreneurs make is not making their product good enough. So again, if the marketing is good enough, the sales is easy, right? For example, but the best marketing is an amazing product. So for a long time, Tesla did not have a marketing budget, according to Elon Musk, the CEO. He said they put all of that budget into R&D to try to make the best cars. Now they still did marketing, right? They, little stunts, and Elon is always doing some wacky shit. But I mean, he's a fucking genius, right? But they just wanted to make the best cars, and at the time, it was the best electric car, right? For a period, there was no electric car that was better. I don't know if there's one now, but and it was a status symbol too, right? But it was a status because, one, it was expensive. Not a lot of people had them. I remember at one point, and it was a different kind of status. It was also, oh man, if you got one of these, you give a fuck about the environment. So you get like a different kind of status with Tesla, at least at one point, and there was a certain amount of exclusivity, right? But he built a multi-billion-dollar company with no marketing budget. They just built the best shit, right? So you got to when you're thinking about developing your product, remember, you want to find people who already want your shit and then give it to them. But if it's really good, they'll tell others about it, and word of mouth marketing is the most powerful marketing, right? Because if I tell you some shit is good, but I'm trying to sell it to you, you might not believe me. But if one of your homies says it's good, right? Somebody like, and trust tells you it's good. Someone you've been friends with for a long time, then you're way more willing to accept that as truth. You get what I'm saying? So it's way more powerful marketing. You got to make your shit so good that people talk about it. If you can do that, then it makes everything so much easier. And then if you get testimonials from clients. So in my business, a high ticket trainer, we really focus on that's my business where I teach trainers how to build their online fitness business. We really focus on making sure the customers succeed, not just because we want them to succeed. I mean, we do, obviously, but we need them to succeed so they can give us a testimonial. That's why I'm posting testimonials every day on my Instagram. New motherfuckers too. People ain't seen every day, because I have an infinite amount of them, because we focus on making the product good and we focus on making the product better every year. You get what I'm saying? And because of that, we can charge a premium, because one, no one's as good as us. They can't be, because no one's been doing it as long as us, and no one's been doing personal. You won't find a human who's been doing online training as long as me. So I know it like the back of my hand, because I was one of the pioneers. But also, we go super hard to make sure our students succeed. It's not all altruistic, right? Like if they succeed, we make more money because we get the testimonial. So our incentives are aligned, but yours are aligned with your clients too, right? If you start giving an amazing experience to your clients, they're going to tell other people about it. They're going to leave reviews, and they're going to be and it'll make your marketing so much stronger, right? So really focus on making your product or service as good as possible, and that never stops. You want to keep improving it at all times, all right? And then the fifth thing, even though I talked a lot about marketing in this, the fifth thing is actually learning sales, right? Because marketing and sales are two different things. The problem is getting really good at marketing is super difficult. It takes time, and it's probably gonna take a lot of money, right? Not only to learn, but also to do it effectively. But if you're good at sales, it covers a lot of sins, right? Like if I wasn't good at sales initially, my businesses would not have succeeded because I didn't have a marketing budget. I didn't know how to do ads for a long time. And I was just focusing on social media, but social media takes a long time to grow. But I was able to succeed because I knew how to do sales really good. You have to learn sales. If you can learn sales, then it makes the whole entrepreneurship journey so much easier. And if you want to learn that, I have a video you should check out right now about how to become an amazing salesperson. All right, check that out now. All right, let's answer some super chats and then get up out of here.
All right. This one. Chris says, I'm currently dealing with a right tricep tear. Have you had an injury that set you back in the gym? If so, or how and what you did so you could make full recovery?
I've had a few injuries, nothing too severe though. That's because I always lift with strict form. Most injuries come from, lifting more than you can handle, right? I mean, that's actually what happened, or lifting with improper form. So I've been lucky in that regard, but I have had some injuries, most notably from a fucking car accident, not from lifting, but that fucked me up a little bit. What you want to do is go to a specialist, man. Honestly, don't fuck around with this shit, right? Go to a sports medicine person, or a sports therapist, and you actually get therapy so they can like fix it under supervision. That's how you'll get better the fastest. Like, don't fuck around with it is what I would do. Like, go see a professional like immediately if you haven't already.
Okay, we got Aperture HD says, hey Brandon, my name is Harrison from New Zealand. Just wanted to thank you for the advice you give, and if you had any tips for scaling a service-based business around real estate photography business.
A lot of it is what I said earlier, right? If you can get good at sales and marketing, especially sales, man, like sales is the cheat code because it covers up, a lot of sins, right? If you're not good at marketing, if you're not good at a lot of things, you can still make money if you can make sales. And if you can be good at everything else, but if you can't make sales, you don't got a business, you got a hobby, right? Like, without sales, there's no fucking income, So you want to really focus on that. I have some videos on that. Just make sure you get as good as possible on that. At that. And marketing, you want to get as many testimonials as possible, and lead with that. Testimonials are some of the best forms of marketing you can get. All right, guys, this has been another episode of Victory Talk. We will be back next week. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. All right, peace.